what is going into your food. Hello and welcome. Today we are asking an important question about what is in your food. Why are we asking this question? Nestle has been in news for all the wrong reasons for adding sugar in products like infant formula and also Cerelac, Nestle Nan that we so regularly consume. Essentially, these are products meant for our children, and we give them this. So what is the problem here? They're adding sugar in these products, which are being sold in developed and in developing countries and less developed countries, including in India. And some countries are not even making the important disclosures that there is sugar in this product. Number one, it is against the guidelines, against the recommendations of the World Health Organization. What Nestle is doing is that it is not doing the same thing, not adding sugar in the same products sold in developed and richer countries like the UK or Germany, for example. That's where the problem starts. Not just Nestle. This week, even Masalas, Indian masala manufacturers like MDH and Everest have been in news for the wrong reasons, having pesticides in their products which could essentially give you cancer. Not just Indian masalas, Venky's chicken that you so love from Venky is a popular brand in India, is accused of promoting and pushing for antibiotics, which is now found to be used in its products. Obviously, it's going to create a huge problem of resistance to antibiotics, which will only add to our woes, which means that if you're actually sick, you need antibiotics, you take them, you consume them, but it does not help you because you've already been consuming antibiotics-laden chicken, which has made you resistant to this important medicine. I'm Sneha Mordani. Our conversation today is going to be, like I said at the outset, what is in your food. First, this report about Nestle. If you have an infant at home, you must in fact pay very close attention to this story. Cerelac, which every Indian household with a baby has, is now under scanner. Cerelac in India and in other less income countries contains high levels of added sugar, and these products are sugar-free in the UK and Europe. And this is not the first time that Nestle has been in news for all the wrong reasons. Here is our detailed and our special report. Does the health of a child in a less developed country not matter to food giant Nestle? Baby food for children in the United Kingdom and Germany has no added sugar, exactly in conformity of the World Health Organization's guidelines. Nestle is now being scrutinized for adding sugar to baby food in less developed countries, including in India. This in complete violation of the World Health Organization's recommendations. A hugely problematic revelation, say experts.
So ideally, any infant food should not contain added sugar till 2 years of age. The major problem what happens, because the food comes very sugary, very tasty, so infant would not like to have breastfeeding. So that is the major impact on the breastfeeding. Secondly, calories increases. We all know that more number of calories, more obesity, and more related sugar-related problem in the babies. So ideally, any infant should not have an added sugar in their food as compared to more than 2-year-old child.
The study has been done by Swiss NGO Public Eye and International Baby Food Action Network that points to the discrepancies. Following the revelations, Nestle India's stocks plummeted by 5%. India's Food Safety Regulatory Authority, FSSAI, has taken suo motu cognizance, and the Consumer Affairs Ministry has decided to intervene. Possible action against the Swiss food major is expected. Nestle, in its defense, has said that it does not compromise on the quality of their products. Nestle India says it has been making an effort to reduce sugar content for 5 years now. However, not giving any plausible explanation as to why it has adopted two different sets of practices for different countries. Health experts worry this has been adding to the burden of childhood obesity and diabetes in India.
Obesity in children is a major issue in the advanced countries. And now we are realizing that even in India, it is a big, big health problem. It has been studied and found that more than 8% of children are obese and more than 12% are overweight in our own country. This is when majority, it is said, may not be receiving enough full meals. This is the paradox of this country.
This isn't the first time Nestle has been embroiled in controversies. From the infamous Maggi noodle ban and allegations of child labor, the company has had its fair share of scrutiny. In 2015, approximately 38,000 tons of Maggi noodles were withdrawn from retail shelves across India and destroyed because lead and MSG was found in its samples. Nestle was banned in the year 1977 over allegations of promoting baby formula and discouraging breastfeeding. UK and the US had banned the Swiss giant. It remains to be seen how India and other countries being shortchanged here deal with the newest allegations. In New Delhi, Sneha Mordani for India Today TV. Let's talk about increasing obesity rates in children in India and why sugar is such a problem. In the year 1990, 0.4 million kids in India were obese. That number has gone up to 12.5 million kids in the year 2022. This is through Lancet, a study that was published in the British Journal. Let's now talk about obese kids under the age of 5. The prevalence of overweight kids under the age of 5 was at 3.4% in the year 2019-2021, between these 2 years, and the prevalence of overweight kids under the age of 5 was at 2.1% in the year 2015-2016. So that has gone up as well. The source is National Family Health Survey number 5. Let's also now give you an idea about childhood obesity in India, which stands at 8.4%. A meta-analysis of 21 studies done in India that indicated that childhood obesity is at a whopping 8.4%. Dr. Satish Kaul, internal medicine specialist, Fortis Hospital, is now joining us. Thank you so much for your time. Dr. Arun Gupta, well-known pediatrician, a nutrition advocacy in public interest associated with NAPI, also is now joining us. Thank you both for your time. I want to begin by asking you, Dr. Arun Gupta, we've had several conversations about this, and this really, I think, hasn't come as a surprise to you, because Nestle in the past as well has been embroiled in several such controversies, including pushing for formula, pushing for infant food in such way, and dissuading mothers from breastfeeding, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. Actually, for me, it's no surprise that, and the reason that the government of India enacted a law to ban the advertisements and promotion of all these products for babies under the age 2, which include Cerelac and other products manufactured by Nestle and several other companies.
Yes.
So the addition of sugar is something which is harmful. Everybody knows that. There is a guidance from WHO, and Nestle should abide by that, in my opinion.
Okay.
Why they should discriminate babies? Indian babies physiologically are the same anywhere in the worldwide.
Absolutely.
So there is no reason for adding sugar to them.
Dr. Gupta, what I want to ask you is that Nestle, of course, has issued a statement saying that we've made a conscious effort to reduce the sugar levels in our products for the last 5 years or so. But no answers to the specific question, why the double standards? Why sugar in these products in India, in other countries outside of India, low-income countries, developing countries, but why no sugar in these countries like the UK, for example, or Germany, for example? That specific question has not been answered by Nestle.
The reason I think is that India has a huge market, because 25 million children are born here every year. And secondly, the addition of sugar actually helps consuming more. So babies love that taste and they eat more, and then the parents also like that. When the babies are happy, parents are happy, they consume more. So Nestle just wants to continue with its bottom line of profits. So the reason, to my mind, is the clear reason that since the regulations are not that strong in terms of contents, as well as I would also like to point out here that despite the law, so Nestle's Cerelac is being promoted on YouTube. Even if you go today on YouTube and see how women are actually promoting Cerelac,
Yes.
telling people how to make and prepare Cerelac, which according to the law is not allowed.
Okay.
So why this is happening? Because I think the companies as big as Nestle and several other companies, I see some homegrown companies also now adding their voice to foods for children under the age 2 and promoting their products on the social media mostly.
That's right. In a very subtle way. We'll talk about that in a moment from now. Dr. Satish Kaul, India has got a high population of children who are obese, also turning diabetic. Childhood obesity is on an increase as our data shows, and we'll put that data out for our viewers in a moment from now. It's extremely worrying. What were your thoughts when you read about this particular news about Nestle adding sugar in baby food, in food meant for infants? Why do you think it's particularly problematic in India?
You see, in India, we have seen that the obesity in childhood population is increasing.
Right.
As per the latest data we see, you'll show it in your this program also.
Right.
The obesity is becoming an epidemic in the younger childhood because the dietary habits of children right from the age less than 2, as Dr. Arun was telling you, has been modified by the media according to the latest guidelines by Indian Association of Pediatrics also.
Yes.
That children should be less than 2 years should not be fed anything which is formula feed, and this should not be promoted by these companies.
Right.
So you see, if a child is given sugar at such an early age, by the time a child reaches 5 years of age and by the time a child becomes an adolescent, we see more and more incidents of obesity and children being obese or overweight.
Right.
So this hue and cry about Nestle adding sugar in Indian formula feed is very important for us to, as a society, to understand that not only Nestle, as far as other companies which are concerned, which promote their sugary drinks, beverages on television, which shows a lot of sugar, which has a lot of sugar content in the children televisions. You see, children are glued to these televisions, and
yes,
when they see these sugar-laden beverages and sugar-laden products on the television, it is basically inculcated in their mindset that they have to consume more and more sugar. And the sugar being addictive, it has led to epidemic of adolescent obesity and children being overweight. So this is a very important point which you are raising about the content of sugar in the formula feed for the young children less than 2 years of age.
I want to talk a little about sugar is an addiction. Dr. Kaul,
yes,
this cycle that once you have that taste, you only want that particular taste. We know that it is addictive. It's addictive for us as well. Imagine this being given to children and infants and babies. Dr. Kaul, you start them off on that cycle, isn't it, of addiction?
Yes. You are starting them up very early on this cycle of getting addicted to sugar.
Right.
Every TV you watch, program you watch, Cartoon Network you watch, every program has ads, and all these ads are full of sugar-laden products being promoted to these children. So this leads to these children being addicted to sugar at a very early age, and by the time they reach their adolescence, most of these children become obese, especially in the cities where there are very less places for children to play or do outdoor activities. More the children are glued to TV, and on top of it, they are addicted to the sugary drinks.
Yes.
It is going to become epidemic later on when these children become adults.
Absolutely.
And the burden of disease, you have to understand the burden of disease like obesity, OSA, and cardiovascular diseases. All these disease burden is going to be huge for India if we are not going to stop this, or government is not going to put some excise duty on sugary products which are sold in the market. We are going to see a real big epidemic in adulthood when these children become adults.
Yes, absolutely. Before I thank you both, I just want to ask this question, and these are final words to Dr. Arun. Dr. Arun, a lot of chatter online, and we've spoken about this in the past, is that people weren't aware. A lot of people have expressed shock about the added sugar, because now we know that the WHO has said that you can't add sugar in infant food and baby food. It's a recommendation. However, Nestle follows it in other countries. It does not follow it here in India and other countries and low-income countries. A lot of people ask, what then should we do? What are the alternatives? What can we give the infant if not formula? What can we give them if not Cerelac and this kind of baby food, processed food?
Yeah, I think the point raised by Dr. Paul is very important, that this is not just a standalone issue,
Right.
I don't see in isolation that we have seen in the past 1 week the several controversies about food products.
Absolutely.
Lately health drink kind of, and then the protein shakes, and now today you are
True.
listening more and more of food products.
Yes.
So to my mind, there is a clear-cut need of some kind of a regulation which would actually take care of all these things together, whether it is mislabeling or advertising, as Dr. Kaul pointed out. If you do not stop it, then the consumption is unlikely to go down, which is rapidly rising at the rate of 13%.
But Dr. Gupta, it's a very difficult problem at hand, isn't it? Because pediatricians, and no offense to you, you are a pediatrician yourself, but there are many pediatricians who actually push for these products. They make a young mother and a young father believe that if you're not giving this to your child is not going to be reaching the optimum weight. It's been my experience as well.
I agree with you, and it's very hard to pick up who is doing or is not, but I am trying to make requests to the Indian Academy of Pediatrics to issue an advisory to all the pediatricians, as well as issue a statement to this effect, so that people listen. And it will still be very hard to check individuals who want to promote, because that goes back to many years of sponsorship by Nestle and all that. People have within generations been influenced by Nestle's sponsorship practices.
Right.
So people did not realize, doctors did not realize that these products can be harmful also, but the country realized in 92 that the parliament enacted a law considering that consumption of these products is harmful.
Right.
Now coming to the point of some solutions which you are asking, one is that it takes time, but the families have to start thinking in terms of, people are thinking that how to give and what to give. There's the family foods in mass quantities at 6 months to 8 months, and then slowly increasing the granularity of the food and slowly increasing the amount and frequency. If the child is breastfed, there is no need of formula feeding. The child can be breastfed for 2 years, and addition of solid and semi-solid foods. So by 15 months or so, 1 year and 3 months or so, children are able to take almost what the adults eat. In that sense, they need about half the calories which the adult needs. So that's one point, that prefer more and more what is cooked at home, what you are eating. So every community may have a different, I don't want to say which recipe, but every community in India has so diverse country.
Right.
Can have their own recipes, what they cook at home.
Okay.
So second, I want to offer a solution. I already said, but the policymakers can think about a comprehensive legal framework to address all these three areas: the content, the labeling, as well as the advertising.
Okay, so
And
breastfeeding
thirdly,
good enough is what you're saying, Dr. Gupta. Breastfeeding.
Yeah, milk breastfeeding continued is good enough. We don't need artificial milks. If you add solid foods and monitor the growth of the children.
Right.
I have one suggestion for media also, both for print and electronic media. Maybe they can consider screening the ads in future. I know it's a revenue issue, but I don't think the media depends only on the food product advertising. So they can start screening what are high sugar, what are WHO has given benchmarks, which is high sugar product, which is high salt or high sodium, or which is high saturated fat product.
Right.
We will be happy to associate with such media who would like to make a change in public interest and volunteer these efforts.
But you're right about this, that thankfully there's been just so much conversation this week alone. I know, Dr. Gupta, you've been tracking this, and Dr. Kaul, about the manner in which you've spoken about protein powders this week. Nestle has been in news. We've had Bonvita in news as well, with the government looking at it. For this as well, the FSSAI, which is the food safety regulatory body in India under the Health Ministry, has looked at this. The Consumer Affairs Ministry has looked at this issue as well. I'm so glad that we are having a conversation about this, because I think to begin with, a conversation is extremely important, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Dr. Kaul, Dr. Gupta, thank you so much for joining in and for sharing your views and your perspective with us on this very important story that we are keeping a very close eye on today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
All right, so sugar is addictive. Do you sometimes feel like having a massive scoop of ice cream or a giant chocolate bar? Have you seen kids become irritable and cranky when you deny them that particular sugary food item? This is sugar addiction, and that's the reason why it is problematic. It's an enemy. It's your body's enemy. The WHO has made suggestions, detailed ones, about limiting sugar intake. Take a look at this report.
A sugar rush is when you have sudden cravings of indulging into a massive ice cream sundae or gorging on an entire bar of melted chocolate that then makes you feel happy and so satisfied. Almost all of us have fallen prey to these cravings. But how does your body react to this? Once the sugar rush comes to an end, it eventually causes low blood sugar levels in the body, which tends to make you feel hungry even after eating. Consumption of sugar in heavy amounts is one of the most unhealthy habits. It makes you feel tired and drowsy, and these symptoms eventually lead to weight gain and being inactive. Food products like candies, pre-packed items and cakes provide no nutritional benefit and ultimately ends up making you feel lethargic and fatigued.
I think parents are also responsible for what their child is choosing, what their child is opting for as a meal. They should keep a watch on that, and they should guide their child that when to eat, what to eat. Parties, those social gatherings all together add on to those availability of different fancy cakes, fancy pastries or muffins and whatnot.
Experts recommend limited sugar intake. The ideal portions are as follows for kids and also for adult men and women. For a kid who's 4 to 6 years old, 19 grams of sugar, that's essentially 5 sugar cubes, is the limited sugar intake that's recommended.
A kid between the age of 7 to 10 can consume 24 grams, that's 6 cubes of sugar.
If a child is 11 years old and above, that amount slightly increases to 30 grams, which is essentially 7 cubes of sugar. For adults, particularly men, 36 grams of sugar is the recommended amount, that's 9 teaspoons of sugar. For women, it's slightly lesser at 20 grams, which is equivalent to 5 teaspoons. And for children, it's 12 grams, that's 3 teaspoons of sugar. Basically, children older than 2 years should consume less than 25 grams of sugar a day, and children who've not reached this age shouldn't be given any additional sugar other than what's naturally present in foods.
You should always try to limit those artificial sweeteners, because studies have shown that they have an effect on increasing risk of cardiovascular diseases or diabetes. Stop taking those sugary drinks and avoiding those sugary drinks as much as possible. Instead of that, you can replace them with like chach or lemon water or coconut water. Those are more natural way of taking liquids.
So what are the signs and symptoms in kids to watch out for? Increased urination, increased thirst as well, fat levels going up, fruity breath odor, stomachache, constantly vomiting as well, and even seeing a weight loss. Sugar has many effects on memory as well as the brain. It slows cognitive functions. It leads to deficits in memory. Problems with attention and inflammation in the brain even has been recognized by experts. Sugar rush is when the rush of adrenaline that gives your child energy and causes their heart to beat faster, their brain to be more alert, and their body to go into fight or flight. So they also become anxious and jittery. Their bodies then start to look for more sugary foods to combat those feelings. So how to manage sugar rush in kids? Do not use sweets or any food as a reward. Using them in this way can make them more desirable to children than if they had not been used as a reward, and can unintentionally lead your child to rely on food or sweets to deal with their emotions. Serve sweets without any stipulations.
As per World Health Organization guidelines, the sugar intake should not exceed more than 10% of total calorie intake. And now, if we talk about the carbohydrates, then its daily requirement can be very easily met by eating fruits, vegetables and grains throughout the day. So now the bottom line is, eat as little sugar as you can to stay healthy and fit. With camera person Manish Jha, Sabha Ikram for India Today.
Now, it's not just Nestle India. We've had Indian masala companies also under the scanner. Not just that, Venky's chicken, the popular Venky's chicken, also under the scanner. Let's tell you why. What's wrong with these masalas? Now, Hong Kong food regulators have found cancer-causing ingredients in 4 MDH and Everest products. 4 products from spice brands MDH and Everest masala manufactured in India contain carcinogenic ingredients. MDH is Madras curry powder, sambar masala, mixed masala powder and curry powder, mixed masala powder. Also Everest fish curry masala contain this particular pesticide that we are flagging off. Use of these ingredients is not only limited to Indian spices. Now Venky's, a major poultry producer in India, is marketing antibiotics to be used by farmers in ways that contribute to spread of drug-resistant infections. So the chicken that you eat from Venky's essentially has a heavy dosing of antibiotics that is being marketed by Venky's. The World Health Organization has opposed the use of antibiotics because they can reduce the effectiveness of the drug when you need it. When you need that medicine the most, it'll stop working on you because you've had enough antibiotics in the chicken that you so love having. That's the problem there. It's Venky's chickens that we're talking about. These alerts have raised concerns about the day-to-day food we consume. And it's important to keep an eye on these regulations, these warnings and these news reports that we bring to you regularly on these food products that can cause short-term and long-term problems. Well, that brings us to the end of this edition. You can find this entire episode, our detailed reports on health, the things that matter to you up on our website as well. That's indiatoday.in. You can also download the India Today app. News continues right here. Thank you so much for watching.